I have the target in sight, sir. No, sir. No, sir. On it, sir. I will gather intel over the next 24 hours and be back in contact. Hello, I'm Nathan, and I would rather be board gaming. So come along with me. Today we're going to be spies and see if we can't stop the evil mastermind of Dr. Lobo. We're almost ready to get started. I've almost got everything set up, but I can't get this whole game quite into the camera. And with the angle I have of the lighting and such, I had a glare. So just bear with me. I'm going to try and walk us through this. Each area of the map has its own unique set of cards. This one here is for the South American region, so I'm just going to shuffle it and set it near South America like I've done with the other locations. Over here, this deck says Asia. They are color-coded, and it represents not only Asia, but Russia. In this game, Russia is considered Asia for the purposes of encounters that we have, but it is also darkened in. These circles are white all over the board with colored rings. The Russian circles are colored in. And they have the sickles and hammer symbol just to differentiate them. Some cards in the game will actually say Russia on them to let you know that it means only that location. But if a card says Asia, it means both the Asian locations down here and the Russian locations. The Russian locations also have the train system there. Don't want to go into great detail with all of the little rules. I will talk about some of them as they come up. The game should be straightforward once we get into it. I randomly selected my secret agents. I have their starting players marked on the board. I'm going to show you the agents that we are using in this game. Here is an example of one of the boards. See if I can get that in their focus for you. There are stars on here to show how much resolve they have. Resolve can be used to push yourself during a feat or to exert yourself while traveling so you can travel to further locations. Then each agent has different stats in these different fields that will come up in the encounters. This is a story-driven game, so you'll see that in a moment if you're not familiar with this game already. And she comes with a UN transport token. So that is Nika Shizuka. And I apologize, I know I'm probably going to pronounce some names wrong. I will go this way in turn order every time. I've got it set up for a 3-player game. She'll be first, next will be Dante Wright, and then Dexter Kane. Each player starts with 2 advanced skill tokens, and that is these little things. And I'll just tell you what they say. I went ahead and gave her seduction and weapon use, since her deception is very low at a 0, which means she has no extra benefit, and you'll see that later. So I decided to try to strengthen that a little bit, gave her seduction and gave her weapon use. Dante here had a 0 in athletics, so I went ahead and gave him weapon use and driving and piloting, just to kind of role play him a little bit. And with Dexter, he has no 0s, but he has no 2s. He's just good all around. Jack of all trades, they say. And I gave him, he gets, one of his special things is he gets 3 tokens. So I gave him electronics, lockpicking, and detection. And detection is basically being able to spot subtle things in your environment, see clues that other people may have overlooked. Here I have some tokens for when people take injuries or get more UN transports. I'm just going to set them off to the side, off the camera. Here are tokens for when airports close. I have my intel tokens and location tokens for the enemies. Have a deck of status cards. Throughout the game, sometimes agents will receive different statuses. this one agent, Nika, actually starts with a status, so I put it on top. So here, it's watch. And anytime she rolls a die, she can, for tests, she can look at the top card of the villain deck and keep it on top or discard it. We'll get to that later, but these are not used all the time. They do come up sometimes, so I'm just going to set them off to the side in case we need those later. And the same with the top secret cards. These are one-time use cards that give you a great advantage in the game. And Dante actually gets to start with one. So give him one. Let's see what he gets. V1. So later, as Dr. Lobo gains in strength, he will achieve strength and status. And some cards have a strength of 1, some have 2s. This will let you discard it, grab his cards, shuffle them, and then randomly discard one, therefore lowering his strength and making it easier to defeat him. So that's a great card. It is a one-time use. We'll set that beside him, and then we'll set the rest of the deck off to the side. Excuse me. Here are the rest of the advanced skill tokens. We'll just set them off to the side in case we need them later. And in this game, we got this giant book. Now, I'm not going to be able to change cameras. I don't want to keep cutting and cutting back in and out a lot, but I will show you a couple of the encounters, how you look them up, and show you the book close up. And here in a little bit, I may zoom in on the board, but I just want to give you an overview of the game for now. All the components. I have the villain deck here. We have the fate deck. Anytime in the game when something random needs to happen, you draw from the fate deck. It is used often, and you will cycle through it. Also, each agent has 2 secret locations. You simply take 2 fate cards, and there is a name. This one is Beijing in Asia, so we will slide that under there. That is one of her locations that she needs to get to finish her private mission. And New York. She can do these in either order. It does not matter. Once they're done, they're done. I'll do the same with each of these 2 agents. Nairobi in Africa. And Las Vegas. And Dexter gets yes, I apologize. Reykjavik in Europe. Reykjavik. I'll just stop now so I don't embarrass myself further. And Cape Town in Africa. We'll leave that there near the board because we will need it often. As I stated earlier, this is Dr. Lobo's strength and influence around the world. If he ever gets down to here, he has too much strength, too much influence, and we can no longer stop him. We lose the game. So we need to keep him in check. Here we have his 4 top henchmen. They all start at level 1. I will just grab this one here, show it to you. If we encounter them later in the game, which we will have to encounter some of them to beat the game, I'll show them to you in a little better detail. But if you beat them, they come back stronger, angrier, they move up. That just shows that they are more determined and they have more resources available to them. But those sit off here for now. They're wreaking havoc around the world. We have to hunt them down. So, let's see here. We've got our skill tokens. We have our location tokens. We have the board set up. I think we're about ready to play. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the board. And when we get back, we can jump into the first round. Okay, we're back. We are ready to go. It may be hard to see from that angle, so here is Nika's player piece. She starts in the Alps. There is a space here that says the Alps. You cannot move into the Alps and some other places on your own. If an adventure tells you to move there because you are following up on leads, then you move your character there, and they will start at that location on their next turn. But for now, she is in the Alps. and there are 2 arrows pointing out, so she will need to move out and have an encounter. I have a 3-player game set up with 3 agents, so there are no special tokens on the board. Right now, we are just free to roam and do what we want. So, let's just move to Rome. Right there, and there is an airport right there. Let me grab the Book of Encounters, and we'll be right back. Now I've zoomed in so that I can try and show you. Sorry if it's a little wobbly or blurry. But I'm going to try and show you how an encounter works. I'll do this once or twice, and then I'll zoom back out and do that off screen. But right here, Nika ended in Rome. That is a yellow Europe. So I draw a card from the Europe deck, and it says, here we go, break the code, 27, response group C. Break the code, 27. So, we open up our big book of encounters. And let's see, here we have, a little further, and here we go. Now, let's see if I can zoom in and show you, starting right there, 26, and 27. So 2711, that is the first encounter for 27. As the card said, break the code, 27, then it said response group C. What is that? Well, in this game, we have this response card. You can pass it around, use it for everyone. Here is response group C. And it says we are going to observe, take quick action, test our limits with determination, get assistance, let's have some fun, or at all costs. None of those really sound great for her athletics. Why don't we try to get assistance? She has seduction. I'm hoping that I could, in my encounter, seduce a guard or someone like that to let me get in. So, the card we drew for Europe said 27, break the code. I'm using get assistance, 5. So we go back to our book. And we will turn until we get to 27, 5. This is point 1. And now to determine which of the encounters we have in book section 27.5, we draw the top fate card. Flip it over. Now, the city we're in has no intel. There is no intel right now, positive or definitive intel. Right now, we're just running around trying to find some. So we will use 2. If there were intel and we decided to interact with that intel, we would use 3. If you are in an ocean location, no matter how many tokens are there, you always use the blue icon for your encounter. So we are going to use the 2, no intel. So that leaves us with 27, 5, and 2. So here we go with our encounter. Well, first thing we have to do is move to Berlin. I'll do that in just a moment. You need help deciphering a message. So you go to an old friend in German intelligence. He agrees to help you in return for a favor. The local bank manager is channeling government funds to terrorists. I need to get into his office, but he only leaves at lunchtime, which he spends with his security. I need you to keep him away for a little longer than usual. Test deception +1. Right there. Sorry. Test of deception +1. Or an automatic pass with disguise. I do not have disguise, but right there, or seduction. So yes, this game lets you roleplay somewhat with your stories, and I guessed correctly. I was able to use seduction. Since she has seduction, we automatically pass, so we go to the pass. You accidentally run into the couple as they make their way back from a hotel room. You do a double take, then walk back towards them. Helga, great to see you again. You keep them talking for nearly 15 minutes despite the manager's frequent, anxious glances at his watch. Your friend in the B&D is very grateful, and I can now up any skill. Oh, that's great. Okay, so let's take a look. I'll get her player sheet and we'll show you that. Here we have Nika's skill board, player board, and here are all of her skills. I know they are hard to read, but she has spycraft, persuasion, deception, athletics, and hand-to-hand. Now, I do know that I, of course, have seduction. I do not have disguise or anything like that, but having a 0 in the deception does kind of scare me. I may have an encounter where I need deception, where seduction will not work. So, I'm going to roleplay this a little bit since I did use deception somewhat. By using my seduction, I will move that skill up to a 1. That means I can, in later encounters, pull an extra die from the bag. Hopefully you'll get to see that soon. Okay, now we're going to go back to the board and see where we stand. So that was a great first encounter with an automatic success. The only downside was that it moved her to Berlin, and there is no major airport there. And I was hoping to fly to one of her special secret mission locations on the next turn, and I won't be able to do that. But we got a skill up. Now we draw the top card of the villain deck. Now, this would indicate something terrible happening with Dr. Lobo and how far he would advance on that track I showed you earlier. This is if he had succeeded, i.e. we failed our mission. So we only look at this side. End of turn event. Let's see what that says, if I can get it into focus for you. End of turn event. AP Press. Front page article. Reads, are these the end times? There it says, remove intel in North America. Currently we don't have any intel, but if we did in North America, we'd have to remove it from the board. And then, sorry for the wiggle, it says, add intel in Macau. And then an airport closure in my current city. Whew. Well, lucky for me, I got moved to a city, Berlin, that does not have an airport. Now, since the very beginning of my encounter told me to move to Berlin, this card happens at the end of my turn, I will take it. I don't believe the rulebook is specific, but I will take it to mean that my current city at the end of my turn, since this happens at the end of my turn. There is no major airport in this game in Berlin, so I do not have to close an airport. Do not have to remove intel, but now I get to add intel in Macau. So, I just randomly grab any intel token from the pool, blindly. Okay, we want to do that blindly. And then we get to add it to, where did it say again? I'm sorry, Macau. So, let's do that. Over here, or it's probably not pronounced Macau, but there we go. And that is her turn done. We will now progress to Dante. And hopefully, once I do a couple of turns, show you in the book, hopefully get a couple of different possibilities going. After that, I'll go through the turns a little bit quicker. Let's see, he wants to get to Nairobi or Las Vegas. So, let's just head to Georgetown from the arrow. Amazon Basin is where he starts. So we'll go to Georgetown and then to Panama City. Alright, I'll be able to get to Las Vegas next turn. And let's see what happens. He is still in South America, so I draw the top South American card. And it says, oh no, torture. That does not sound good. Torture, section 25, response group G. Alright, let's take a look. 25 in our big book of encounters. So, starts right there at the bottom of this page. 25. Oh, no, 25.5. Let's see what we're going to do. G, response group G. And there it is. I can try to taunt, taunt my torturers. That doesn't sound smart. Overreact, stay calm, cry, blend in, stand out, or laugh at them. Ooh. He has driving and piloting and weapon use. What to do? I mean, I could try laughing at them. I could try taunting them. Let's try that. Why not? We're going to see if we can taunt them, maybe make them get emotional, drop their guard, and I can steal a weapon from them. So that is 1. So we are in 25-1, so I need to turn back a few pages. And then we draw our fate card. There was no intel. With no intel, we go to 2. So that is 25-1-2. And let's see if I can get this in up here for you guys. Alright. You can tell by his methods that the man holding you is KGB. Since we have a common enemy, why don't you just ask me what you need to know instead of torturing me, you ask? Because, dear agent, I don't trust anything that comes out of your mouth. You are in league with the devil, and that makes you a liar. Great. Even if you tell him the truth, he will torture you anyway. He starts by electrocuting you with an exposed wire. It burns your skin, and you scream. When he stops, you look up at him and say, "You're not a very nice man, are you?" He seems hurt by this. Now I need to do a test of deception or persuasion +2. And in brackets there, it has a 2. That means if I test persuasion, I can draw +2 dice out of the bag to try and get a success. But that 2 in the brackets means I would need 2 successes. Or I can simply test my deception. There is no automatic pass. So I have to test deception or persuasion. Let's take a look at that. Hopefully you can see this well enough. I've tried to zoom in on it. Test deception or persuasion +2 with 2 successes. Well, his deception is already at a 2. That is the initial start. That means I can draw 2 extra dice from the bag, if I wish, to try and succeed at this encounter. If I use persuasion, then I go here and it has a 1. I would only draw 1 extra die and need 2 successes. So, I think we're going to go with deception and get that 1 success. So, let's try that. I'm going to switch the camera again and let's give it a go. We're about to do Dante's encounter. The way you do encounters is you roll dice. This is the encounter die. These Dr. Lobo symbols are just straight up fails. Then you can heal an injury or take an injury while exerting yourself. And the gun icon is a success. Now, all we need is 1 success. And you notice this die is a 1 in 6 chance. The different die in the bags have different chances. Some are better, some are worse, some have more injuries and such like that. Now, since we are using deception, we have a chance to draw up to 2 more dice from the bag. So, I'm going to reach in and randomly pull one out, and I got the green one. That has 3 successes, an injury, and 1 fail. So there's a 50-50 chance on this die. That's pretty good. Remember, all we need is 1 success. If all the other dice are fails and you have 1 success and you only need 1 success, then you've completed that objective. You have succeeded in that encounter, but you may still take injuries and such like that. But why not? Let's go ahead and pull out another random die so we can look at it and get a feel for how these encounters go. And we have this die. Oh, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, 1 fail. But this one says injury of 2. A 1 in 6 chance. But that is a great chance to succeed. We should succeed at this. So now, you roll the dice. And we have a success. We have this one and this one. And then we have this one here. It may be hard to see. That is an injury 1. So, I take this injury token and place it on Dante's player board. He had a hit point of total of 4. So, if he gets to 4, something terrible happens. He does not die. You are not out of this game. You just have to reset your character, and Dr. Lobo advances quite a bit from that. Now, if you notice, all these dice in the bag are white with different colors. There's green and black and red, but this die here is gray with yellow icons. Even if the objective you were trying to do uses stats that give you a negative result. For instance, there I had a deception of 2. But if you have a hard task and you're kidnapped or something like that, it could be hand-to-hand combat -1 because you're tied up. Well, if you're already at 0, you can have no extra dice. You always roll this die for your encounter, so you always have a 1 in 6 chance to succeed. And then you can spend some of your resolve to try and fix that. But he succeeded, so let's read our pass. Let's see what that says there. You actually managed to convince him to stop torturing you. Of course, the information you share with him is completely false. 9 lives, but get 1 injury. Oh no, we get another injury. But 9 lives. Let's take a look at that. Over here, in that status deck that I was talking about earlier, happens to be, I put these alphabetically ordered, so 9 lives. For every injury you receive, pull a single die from the bag. If you roll a success, you avoid the injury. Ignore all other die results. Alright. And the caption up under here, 9 lives. You have survived explosions, plane crashes, knife wounds, and even once took a bullet in the head. Wow. Alright, so we give that to Dante. Now, just like before, I'm doing things in order. The book said we receive 9 lives, and then we take an injury. 9 lives says every time you take an energy, you pull a single die from the bag. So I'm going to do that now and see if maybe I can even avoid the second injury. So, reach in here, randomly pull up a die. Got the blue one. Oh! Only 2 successes. Let's see. Nope. We fail. So we take that extra injury. He now has 2. Which brings us to something we can do on his next turn. And I put the rest of the, put all the white die in the bag. We are now ready for the end of turn. Draw the villain card. See if I can get this into focus. I won't do this every time, but just to give you an idea of how this goes. African states hired by Civil War. Mired. Sorry. Having trouble getting it into focus. So I remove any intel that's in Africa, but I add intel in Georgetown. Okay? Then I will close the airport in Panama City. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Look at that. So I take one of these little tokens. It has a plane that is crossed out on it. It's going to be hard to see. Tiny little tokens. And he happens to be in Panama City. But we do get more intel, and it's in Georgetown, which is right next to him. So, that's not too bad. And that is the end of his turn. So I'm going to jump right into Dexter's turn. Now, he cannot get to his secret mission locations. No, doesn't look like it. He is stuck in the Congo Basin at the moment. He has no intel near him. But he can almost get to Cape Town. It's 3 spaces away. He can only move 2. And it has an airport. So we're going to do that. We're going to stop in Zanzibar. And I'm not going to show you the encounter book. I'm just going to do this, an investigation 7 with the response group of E. Okay. E. See if I can get this into focus. Take charge. I'd rather be lucky. Unorthodox. Frighten, joke, or trust no one. So I'm doing an investigation or having an investigation done on me. Not sure. He is good at detection, electronics, lockpicking. Let's try unorthodox and see what happens. So that would be 3. So we go to 7.3, and then we draw our fate card, and we will use the number 2 for no intel. Latimer Cornell gives you a tour of his facility. He constructs satellites for many governments, and there is concern that he is putting Smersh chips inside the satellites. He vehemently denies the accusations. As you can see, Agent, I run a tight ship. There is no reason for the UN to suspect me of foul play. His employees, however, seem afraid of him, especially the aide escorting him. You seduce the aide to see what you can find out. So we're going to test persuasion for 1 success or a deception of +2 and need 2 successes. But we can automatically pass with seduction or adventuring. Oh, poor Dexter. So, let's see. Well, all of his skills start at 1. Persuasion or deception. Let's try persuasion. We get the 1 gray die here. I'm going to draw 1 more die out. Let's see what we get. Oh, the red die. This one is not that bad. It has 3 successes and 3 fails. Not too bad. Alright, let's see what we get. Oh, no, he failed. He got a failure and an injury. Oh, this is awful. This is awful. And he only has 3 hit points. Now, I'm going to, at this time, I'm going to spend 1 of his resolve. He starts with 6, and that lets me, according to his chart, reroll any 1 die. I'm going to take this die that has the 50-50 chance of succeeding. Let's see what happens. Yes! We still will take the injury. I did not re-roll that. But we succeed. So now we can go to the pass section. And I will just read that out. The aide wants to meet at your hotel room where she stabs you with a knife. You hold the aide down and dole out a good few slaps until she is rendered powerless and tells you what you need to know. Gain 1 intel, but also 1 injury. Ah, Dexter. 2 injuries now, and he only has 3 hit points. But we gain an intel. Now what that means is we can randomly grab an intel from the intel pool. Sometimes in the game, it will tell you to flip one over. It always stays over for the rest of the game, whether it moves here, onto the board, back to here. And when you are told, for instance, on this encounter, we receive an intel, you could grab that intel because you want the intel to match Dr. Lobo. But right now, we are good. So we are just going to grab this one, put it in our intel pool. That is definite, definitive, good intel to stop in Dr. Lobo. Excellent. All right. Well, that takes care of Dexter's turn. That takes care of 1 turn for all players. So now I think I'm going to speed up the game. I'm going to zoom in on the board. It won't be quite as exciting, but you can listen along as I play through. Okay, we're back, and I need to finish off Dexter's turn by drawing a villain card. I will just read it here. End of turn event. Mysterious famine spreads across Africa. No intel is removed, but we do add intel in Kazan and Beijing. Ooh, Beijing. Yes, Nika has a secret mission objective in Beijing. So, Beijing and Kazan. Now this is one minor problem with the game, mostly for people like me. I do not play it enough to remember exactly where everywhere is on the map, and the cards could have done a little bit better. If at any time it has a Russian location, it says to the side Russia. Otherwise, removing intel is red, adding intel is blue. It's always the same. And that makes it a little bit harder to find some of the places that you want to find. If, like me, you don't know where everything is. Or, if you're trying to do this while recording, things get covered up and you're having trouble seeing. But it is here in Russia. And that's one of the ones in Russia that is not. So, some of the cards, it has in parentheses Russia, some of them it doesn't. And the rule book does have a few minor mistakes. But those are nitpicky for such a fun, great little game. So, we're done with that. And we have to close the airport in Rome. All right. There we go. All right. Now back to Nika's turn. Now, if you've been following along, you see we have 4 intel on the board. Sometimes it tells you to remove some, sometimes it doesn't, like in that last one. At any time in a 3-player game, you can only have 5 of the intel chips on the board. Then you need to be following up those leads or they dry up. And at any point when you need to add intel and you go over that 5, something bad happens. Dr. Lobo advances. So, let's get back to Nika. Jump right into her turn. We are going to move her. She needs to get to Beijing or New York, so I'm just going to move her to Moscow. And as I said earlier, for encounters, that is considered Asia. So she has stolen property, section 30 of the book, and that is response group H. So, Response group H is, let me see here. It's back. Since this is the first time seeing H, see if I can get that one into view for you. Be nosy. Go all in. The setup. Cheat. I'm just a natural. Or it's good looks. It's my good looks. Okay. So she come across some stolen property. 30. H, let's go with, since she has seduction, let's use her good looks. That would be 6. See if we can't role play this a little bit. And then we draw a fate card. No intel, so we get a 1. So that would be 30.6.1. Here we go. Move to any city in Asia on the coast. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Well, let's move down here where some intel is then. And I will just stick her in Macau. Do you speak Russian? Asked the director. Sure, why not? You answer. But if I have problems, I'll just turn on the charm. No one can resist me. The director rolls his eyes. At 10 a.m. today, at a remote beach, a Soviet helicopter will deliver a briefcase to a KGB agent. We need the technology inside the case. It is a stormy day, and you come surfing on a wave towards the exchange spot, where a lone Russian sits with a rifle. You shoot him cleanly in the head, then put on his clothes. Hide the body and wait for the helicopter. We get a test of deception +2 and an automatic pass to seduction. Yes, that is what we were hoping for. The helicopter arrives and you are handed the briefcase without question. The pilot even gives you a wink before flying away. Receive 1 intel. Excellent. We are on a great roll. End of turn. UN buildings in Paris attacked by long-range missiles. So we remove any intel that happens to be in Europe. And currently there is none. And now we add intel in New Orleans. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we are at our limit. We need to get rid of some of that. Dante's turn. He is going to go right next door, get rid of this intel by collecting it. And what he is going to do is add it to the intel pool. Okay, we don't know exactly what it is, but he followed up some leads. We have new intel. Then he is going to have an encounter here in South America. And it is an abduction. 5 with response group C. Alright. See if I can't speed this game up for you guys if you're still following along. I am going to, let's see. He can observe, quick action, test limits, use determination, get assistance, have some fun, or at all costs. You know what? He seems like a fun guy. He's going to have some fun. So it's going to be 05.6 for having some fun. Alright. And then, oops. We draw our fate card, but this time, since he picked up the intel and moved it into our intel pool, we're going to use this number with intel, 3. The reason being is the higher the number, most of the time it's a little bit more difficult of an adventure. And that is just to show the seriousness of the situation we're in, following up this intel. So, 3. 5.6.3. Here we go. There is fear that a visiting politician's daughter will be kidnapped for leverage. If more instability is allowed in the region, Smersh will be able to gain more influence. More importantly, you've spent the past few days hanging out with the girl, and you've become quite fond of her. So we need to test our hand-to-hand combat with a +1, but need 2 successes, or our athletics +1 also needs 2 successes. Oh, well, he has horrible athletics, but his hand-to-hand is a +1, so we're going to do that, and it looks like we have no automatic passes on this one. So, there is our gray die we always use, and I drew the reddish, burgundy-ish that only has 1 success. Oh, this is awful. This could be awful. Let's see what we get. 2 fails. No. Let's see here. Reroll a single die. We're going to have to fail. So, we're going to fail this, and then I can show you what happens when you fail an encounter. 6 men with automatic weapons break into the house and are incensed when the daughter isn't there. In the ensuing gun battle, you take a bullet. They hunt down the daughter and take her. And we gain love interest. The story says we took a bullet, but it did not say we took an injury. So that was pretty good for us. And let's see. Now we need to go to the status deck and look for love interest. Let's see what has happened to Dante. While away on a mission, your thoughts never stray too far from the one you love. Sometimes you write poetry. Aww. Dante. You must first have a successful encounter to pick up the intel token at any location on the map. But you may discard this card as your reward for completing a secret mission. Wow. Now what that means is, if you remember, he moved here, picked up the intel, and stuck it into the intel pool for us. Then we had an encounter. This card now tells us we have to do it the other way around and succeed in an encounter before he's able to pick up that intel. Ouch. Let's see what happens. Now, since he failed the encounter, we draw a villain card, and this time we do this. The Villain Advancement. Dr. Lobo's nomination for Nobel Peace Prize infuriates Western nations, and he advances to a threat level of +2. So we're just going to stick that over here near his board and move him down to the number 2. Now, let me pick this up and show you what that means. 2 guns. If we were to find Dr. Lobo's lair and encounter him, we would need intel dealing with weapons. That is the most common of intel, and we would need 2 of them to win the game. Right now we've got 3 intel total, and we don't know what they are. We just gathered the intel and sent it back to base. We don't know exactly what it is. If his marker ever gets to 9, we automatically lose. Or if we encounter him and don't have the proper intel, we also lose. Okay? The way we're going to encounter him is by having enough encounters. You probably see it right over here on the edge of the board. Having enough encounters with his thugs, his main henchmen, then we can encounter him. Alright, now, whether you pass or fail, you then draw another villain card and do the end of turn event every time. So let's do that. Soviets deny UN access to Smersh archives. So I remove any intel that is in the USSR. So that one stays, but this one is gone. We just put it back there. But now we're going to add intel into RatherBeBoardGaming. And that is up here. And I hope no one gets offended when I mispronounce that horribly. Okay, Dante. Not a great turn, but not too bad. Could have been worse. Now, Dexter, he has 2 injuries, and he only has 3 hit points. So what we're going to do on his turn is simply pass his turn. That way we can remove those 2 injuries on his player board. But when you do that, if you take a rest action, you have to have 2 or more injury tokens. Okay? To heal 2 injuries. You skip your encounter phase, and then you go directly to the villain phase. Alright? So we're going to go directly to this end of turn event. 60% of Americans believe someone in their family is a member of Smersh. Remove intel in Europe. And the new one we just put up there was in Europe. Oop, didn't see that. Let's mix that up. No one saw that intel. We're going to add intel in Lima and Calcutta. Alright. Here is Lima. Oop, let me move the die. And Calcutta. Let's see, right there in the Himalayas. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Barely okay. And then we close the airport in the current city. There is no airport. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong player. Still no airport. And that was his turn. Now we're going to go back to Nika. She is sitting on top of intel, so let's pick that up and move it to our intel pool. And soon we'll start having encounters with the henchmen to try and win this game. Alright, she is in Asia. It is 38, response group E. Take charge, rather be lucky, unorthodox, frightened, joke, or trust no one. Well, since she has this watch card, before she rolls for her test, she's going to look at the top villain card. Why not? Oop, it's a 1, so if we fail, it's only a 1. Not bad. So we'll keep that there. And she's not scared. She's going to take charge. So that is 38-1. Let me get to that section. And 38-1-3. Burmese leader Ni Win traveled to this country at the behest of Smersh. He is to chair a meeting at which Smersh hopes to see a new anti-Western alliance created. While a roadblock prevents the real Ni Win attending the meeting, you apply latex to your face to mask the obvious discrepancies in your heights. A UN colleague will push you in a wheelchair on the pretext of an illness. You enter the meeting and quickly call things to order. And this one, I will show you the book because this is new. I have not seen something like this before. There we go. Male agent tests deception. A female agent test deception, but at a -2 because you're pretending to be a famous male world leader. But you either pass with disguise or seduction. That means I would understand it to mean either the male agent or the female agent using disguise or seduction. Now, since it is Nika, we gave her the seduction, we passed. We make a big deal of refusing to sign the alliance treaty against the West. The UN ensures that the public gets wind of the failed treaty ceremony. Several uprisings prevent future negotiations. I can up any skill and get an advanced skill. Excellent. Let's up her spycraft. And then for an advanced skill. Let's see. She has seduction. She has weapon use. How about... let's go with adventuring. Why not? All right. Great job, Nika. The Taj Mahal was stormed by protesters and covered in graffiti. No intel is removed, but we will add intel to Agra. So we are setting right on that 5 intel threshold again. Alright, we're back to Dante. And he would really like to get to Las Vegas or Nairobi, but he is 2 spaces away from this intel, so we're going to move there. And because he has a love interest now, he cannot pick up that intel until we have a successful encounter. So we have a daring infiltration on 35, response group A. Let's see. What is he going to do? You know what? Let's really roleplay it. One of the options is be reckless, and he has a love interest. He's going to be reckless. So it's going to be 35, 3, 35, 3, 2. Oh! Alright. You've broken into a bank accompanied by Agent XXY. So far, he has nearly set off the alarm, broken the radios, and started a fire in the trash can. The final straw comes when he steps on your leather Armani shoes. You can't control yourself. You grab him from behind, screaming, then lift him in the air and toss him through a window. The alarm goes off. Police will be there in minutes. If you are to get inside the president's vault, you better hurry. So I can test my spycraft with a +1, but I can pass with lockpicking or speed. He has neither. Now his spycraft is a 1 and he gets a +1. So I can treat that as a 2 on this one. Alright, well, definitely going to draw at least 1 die. Let's see. Oh, and I got that 1 success die again. Awful. Let's draw another one. A little bit better, but only 2 successes. Ouch. Alright, Dante, let's go. No! He fails and gets an injury. I think it's time to spend a resolve. This one has the best chance of success, so let's try it. Yes! Got the success. Only needed 1 success. But I still take the injury. Ouch. Dante is really hurting now, so grab another injury token. But he succeeded. Now, since he succeeded, I can pick up the intel and use it because of this love interest card. Now, instead of putting it into the intel pool, I'm going to put it back here, and I'm going to grab a location token. Okay? But first we need to finish our little story. You enter the combination you bought from a government official and retrieve the documents. Gain one intel and it's flipped up. Alright, so not only did he have intel here, which I put back into the pool, but he's going to get a free one and we're going to flip it up. So I'll just grab this one and we got some radio chatter. Alright. Now, if you remember, Dante, after succeeding in his event there, he took the one intel and flipped it up, but he discarded the other intel that he was setting at. What he can do is now grab one of these location tiles. These represent the henchmen. We take one at random, and we put it there. All that means is he has followed some intel to find one of Dr. Lobo's main generals or agents. Alright, let's do our end of turn. A bomb detonates inside White House, killing First Lady. We remove any intel in North America. And then we add intel in Ceylon. Let's just grab a different one. Just do it randomly. And no airport closures this time. Alright. Now let's see. Right there. And alright. That is his turn. Over to Dexter. Let's see here. He's going to move here to Cape Town because that is one of his secret mission locations. Okay. Okay, before we get to that, I need to do something here. When Dante followed that intel to find the location of one of Dr. Lobo's henchmen, you do it randomly, which means you always draw a fate card. Here at the top it says Warsaw in Europe. Alright. So let's go right there. Alright. Then back to Dexter's turn. He is in Cape Town. If you start your encounter phase, not your turn, but the encounter phase, at the location of one of your cards, so if I pull his secret mission and it says Cape Town, I can now flip it over. Now this is one of the discrepancies that the instruction manual has. At one point it says when you flip over the card you can receive one of these 3 rewards, and at another place it says once you have completed both of your secret missions you can receive a reward. A little bit of a contradiction. You can play it either way you want. It's your game. Have fun with it. Make it just a little bit easier for myself. I'm going to do one for each one. Plus, that will play into Dexter's secret ability. We'll get to that later. But one of the things you can do is draw a top secret card. And these are great. And he gets the honey trap. You've got a Smersh agent talking. I can place a location token on a random location or place 2 intel on random locations and use this at any time. Well, the board already has quite a bit of intel. Why not just take a location token and do that now and place it at a random location? So he is going to use that as soon as he gets it. We will go to Mexico City with a random location token, and Dexter is now ready to have his encounter. We're back and ready for Dexter's encounter. He gets doppelgangers 33 and response group B. Sorry for the glare. Let's see here. B. Impress. On your guard. rely on instinct, persuade, admire, detain, or intimidate. Well, we're playing Dexter as a smart kind of spy, not a threatening or confrontational type. Let's see. We're going to rely on our instincts. So 33.3. There was no intel there, so 3. Wow, 33.33. Here we go. We move to the Congo Basin. All right. Where is the Congo Basin? Right there. All right. The director arranged a meeting with him in a jungle clearing, and you traveled hundreds of miles to get here. He would not divulge the reason for this emergency meeting, which is so unlike the director that it doesn't make sense. The director climbs into your Jeep and tells you to drive. You set off, then suddenly pull off to grab a snake hanging from a tree and throw it into his lap. So I get a test of deception -1, which is at 1, which would be a 0. Or I pass automatically with gambling. Oh, alright. Let's see here. One of the other things you can do, and that's what I'm going to do at this point, is you can actually spend a resolve to add +1 to a single test. So I'm going to spend 1 resolve so that I can draw an extra die. Oh yeah, not bad. 50-50 chance. Let's see what we get. Yes! 2 successes. I do not think I even needed to draw the other die, but better safe than sorry, right? Okay.